So, my peeps, today I want to talk about the black community. I'm going to be talking about my experience growing up in the black community. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up in North Memphis. People know about North Memphis, that is the hood. Okay, and I moved to Chicago when I turned 19. And when I first moved to Chicago, I was staying with my auntie in a poor neighborhood. Okay. Now I stay in Rockdale, Illinois. And I noticed some differences, in between staying in these communities. When I was staying in North Memphis and in the hood in Chicago, one of the first things you notice, of course, is, the way they take care of the neighborhood, like far as trash everywhere and things like that. You rarely see, trash and all type of debris and stuff, floating around the neighborhood where I stay at now. They have laws in like certain suburban areas out here, where I stay at. You can't even have your fence a certain length and things like that, or it's a violation. As far as like when I stayed in, the black communities and the poor neighborhoods, they didn't really have any violations or things like that. You could pretty much do what you want. That's just the first thing you notice, okay? Now, another thing you will notice is that there are not many franchises out there, okay? And this is one of the things that stands out the most to me staying there. The litter and the garbage and stuff, I mean, that pretty much becomes the norm. You get used to seeing it, but like, as far as franchises and big businesses and stuff like that, you never really get used to seeing that. It hurts. When I was growing up there, in order to have a good paying job, you would have to go like way out. You got to travel a distance to make some good money there. There are not many good paying jobs out there. If there are some good paying jobs around, they have to be somewhere that's not in North Memphis and Chicago. Again, I'm explaining my experience, all right? So, you got to travel far to make good money, all right? The property value is really low in these communities, in these black communities. If they do have some property that has some value to it, 9 times out of 10, they put a church on it. You will see a lot of church buildings in the good spots in the poor neighborhoods. You won't really see anything other than that. Like, they don't put franchises there. And I'm not like an expert on that. I was told by one of my friends that when the property value is low and when you have a certain amount of income, being accumulated in a community, that will dictate what type of businesses will come and set up in your neighborhood. So since you're living in a poor black community and a lot of people there are on welfare and they're not making good money, you're not going to see too many businesses come there and set up shop because, you can't go to like a Starbucks with an EBT card, you can't do that. So you won't see a Starbucks or anything like a big time franchise out there. The big name franchises that you will see not in there but around those communities are like fast food chains or of course a Walmart. You'll have a Walmart out there, you will have fast food chains out there, and that's usually the outlet for people in those neighborhoods to find employment. They have to go, if they don't have a car and they really desperate for a job and they have to get to that job, by walking or, riding a bike or something like that, they usually end up at a fast food place or they end up working at Walmart. And these are low wage jobs, okay? So keep that in mind. You don't have any big name franchises or corporations around that pay a good wage. So the jobs that are around on the outskirts of these neighborhoods are low wage jobs. Okay, you got low wage jobs there. There are no grocery stores in these neighborhoods. You will rarely see a grocery store in a black poor community. They don't really have those there. So low wage job, no grocery store. Okay, when you are not making good money and there are no grocery stores around, you're forced to buy things like goods and, milk, little knick-knack stuff. If you can't get a ride to the grocery store, you're forced to buy bread and all that stuff at a convenience store. Now, they have convenience stores there. You usually have like a corner store around, okay? And they're usually owned by like some foreign person. They come to set up shop and make money there, okay? So when you're forced to buy your groceries at a convenience store, you're going to be paying more money. And you're already not making that much money because low wage jobs around, okay? So a person that has a grocery store around the corner from him, he's going to pay like 99 cents, maybe $1.25 for a loaf of bread versus being in a poor black community, you're going to be paying like $2.50, $3 for a loaf of bread, like $3, something like that for milk. Those prices are up. And pretty much everything is expensive in stores that are in black and poor communities. They cost more. Gas even costs more in these poor and black communities that I grew up in. Okay, this is my experience that I grew up in. So if you're making low wages and you're paying more for goods and gas, it's kind of hard for you to save money and get up out of there. Okay, it's really hard for you to do that. And I know it's a thing they have where people on the left, and I lean left, okay? I think I told you guys that in my first video that I lean to the left. Now, you got a lot of people on the left that are pushing for, a living wage. They want places to pay a living wage because of situations like this. They feel like, that if you stay in a poor community, they see this, that it's hard for you to get out because you can't save money because you're not making money and you're paying more. All right. Where I stay at now, things are cheaper out here. All right. And there's jobs everywhere. Rockdale is basically a factory town. There's factories and warehouses everywhere. And all through these suburbs out here, I stayed like down the street from Joliet. That's the second largest city in Illinois, okay? And Joliet, you got jobs everywhere. Bolingbrook, Romeoville, especially Romeoville. It's jobs. You can throw a stick and hit a job out here, okay? Now, what I want to say about that is black people have a reputation for being lazy and not wanting to work, all right? And I'm doing this to kind of kill that. I don't want people to have that in their minds that we're lazy and don't want to work. Because me staying in the black community and in this community that's predominantly white, okay, I see that it's basically the same type. You got lazy people in the black community. You got lazy people out here in this white community, okay? There's some lazy people out here. The difference is every lazy person will say this every now and then. Man, I need to get my shit together. I need to go out here and get a job. I gotta do something. They're lazy, but every now and then they have this flash in their life where they feel like they need to get up and do something. Maybe they're 18 years or older and they're sitting in the house and their mom is like, look, you need to get a job. Their mom is telling them they need to get up off their ass and go get a job. All right. Now this is the difference. In these communities, in this predominantly white community, when they have that in their mind and, man, I need to get a job, they go through that phase, or their mom is pressuring them to get a job, it's easy for them to go out there and get it. they can go out there and get it, and they can get a pretty good paying job. When you're making good money and you're a lazy person, when you're making that good money, it can kind of motivate you to stay on board because you're able to buy things that you're not used to. All right. So it kind of motivates you to stay at that job or even, find something better. You just got to get your feet wet. Now, when you're in a black community, in a poor black community, and you have that phase you go through, or your mom is pushing you to go out the door and go find a job, and the only thing around is low wage jobs, it's like discouraging. Man, I'm out here working at Popeye's Chicken, making the minimum wage. I'm not making any money. I'm not making enough to cover the things that I want. I mean, you may be able to cover some of the things you need, but everybody, I don't care who you are, okay? You want nice things, all right? And if you're not able to get nice things, it's frustrating, all right? So it's easy for them to get discouraged, and it's easy for them to, just quit. And that's why you see a lot of black people in these black communities end up selling drugs, all right? Because they can make faster money and pretty much gross the same in a week or every 2 weeks that you would gross making at Popeyes or McDonald's or something. So it's like, why go in there and sweat and deal with a bitch-ass manager when I can do this? And you see that here too, okay? I see that a lot here in this predominantly white area, that a lot of white dudes out here, they sell drugs just like the black dudes do too. I mean, they do basically the same thing. And this, I think, is worse with them because they have the option to go out there and get a good paying job versus the dude in the black community. He really don't have that option unless he has a car or, doesn't mind getting on that bus. And that's another point I wanted to run through with staying out in Chicago. You would see a lot of guys in black neighborhoods, black poor neighborhoods in the summertime actually get on a bus and go get a good paying job, somewhere out here. I stay probably like an hour away from the city. Okay, so they would get on that bus and they would, do the hour. On a bus is longer, so they'll do that hour and a half, 2 hour drive out here to make money. But Chicago winters are brutal, okay? And you won't see too many guys standing at that bus stop when it's 30 below zero, okay? And going out here to stay on, getting on the bus stop, to ride out here to go to their job. And, they get discouraged by that. And I don't want these to seem like excuses. These are things that I see, all right? If you notice, I haven't said anything about any solutions. The only thing I said as far as a solution is things that people on the left propose. They think that they should have a living wage. So I'm going to close this by saying this. I want to hear your solution, all right? Do you think that the people on the left have a good idea, now that I hope I gave you an understanding of what's going on in these communities. So with that understanding that I just gave you, if you have it, do you think that the people on the left have a good idea as far as paying people a living wage at a place like McDonald's or a place like Walmart? Or do you think, there's another alternative? One thing I say, I'm on the left, okay, and staying there, when you're staying in those communities, you're like, hell yeah, we should be making a living wage, because I need to be able to provide for my family. All right, and I'm working just like anybody else. I'm a productive citizen. I'm contributing to the country. Why am I not making enough to provide for my family? I understand that, all right. But to me, if you're on the right and there's an alternative, if I was a right-leaning person, my alternative would be, they need to put higher wage jobs in the community. All right. If you don't want to pay people a living wage at McDonald's, if the argument is that's a job for teenagers, I understand that. If that's your argument, don't you think they should put like manufacturing jobs and factories just like we have out here? It's a lot of warehouse factories and stuff out there. Why are they not there? Why they don't put them in the black communities? And the thing is that the property value is low. All right. But at a warehouse and at a factory, you're not selling any goods. You're not selling anything. So you don't have to go on the gross income, that's in that community. You don't have to worry about somebody coming in there buying it and they can't afford it. What you're doing is you're distributing goods at a warehouse or at a factory. It's basically distribution. So if I was a right-leaning person, that would be my argument. Okay, maybe we should put these jobs in there. Think about Detroit in like the 50s and the 60s, I want to say. In the 50s and the 60s, they really didn't have that much crime there because the people were working. They had something to do. Okay, they were out there being productive and working in manufacturing jobs. When those manufacturing jobs left the poor black communities, everything went to shit. Everything went to shit. Okay, I don't stay in Detroit. I can't speak from that experience. This is from what I read. Okay, it's from what I was reading, that when they had those jobs there, that the family, there was a 2-parent household. Okay, you didn't see too many black men getting locked up or going through anything. They went to work and came home. They were able to afford, rent and be able to send their kids to college and all of that, when they had those jobs there. So if you're a right-leaning person, do you think that's, a good alternative to have these type of jobs in those neighborhoods? Or do you have something else to propose? I already know what the people on the left propose because I'm on the left and, I'm in that echo chamber. I see and know their policies like the back of my hand. So I'm not asking you guys really. I'm asking the people on the right. Do you think that that's a good alternative, or what else do you think they can do being the information I just gave you? All right, I'm out of here. Peace.